Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another show, Touchline Talks. Here with your boy Jay Socials. I'm here with a special guest. He's been here before a couple of times, Yves. We're just going to be discussing, obviously, the biggest game of the weekend: Liverpool versus Manchester City. Wow, what a game! What a game! There's lots to dissect in that game, and then we'll also be touching on Barcelona. There's lots going on, obviously, from their financial situation to huge question marks with Messi's future as well at Barcelona. So we're going to be talking about. There's going to be a lot to talk about today. So yeah, let's just get started. So Yves, how you doing? How's life? How is the lockdowns? Are you guys doing lockdowns in France?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure coming on the show. Yeah, we still have lockdowns. Everything's going okay. We're some minor restrictions in terms of stores and other things. Otherwise, we're okay. Borders are semi-open, semi-closed, so we're not sure if we can leave or not. But you can go on holiday because children's holidays are coming up, or school holidays coming up. So.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's fine. I think we're picking up on the vaccine part, and hopefully in the next couple of months, it won't disrupt too much Europe. We have the Euro coming this summer, which I'm going to, so I would love for that to happen.
Ooh, you got tickets?
I got tickets indeed.
How the hell did you get tickets, man?
Very lucky, I guess. Very lucky.
Yo, we might have to talk behind cameras, man.
I still have a ticket open, so if you can make it, then it's yours. But,
okay, yeah, we'll definitely have to talk behind closed doors, so that way you don't leak the secrets.
Exactly. But the Euro is an interesting one, and we'll see what happens. But if they cancel it, then it goes straight to Qatar. So I really hope for their sake that they continue.
Yeah,
lots to talk about. Specifically, last night's game was crazy.
I know, crazy. How you feeling, man? Like, what was your take on the game? I thought it started off well. I think Liverpool kind of had a bit of control in the first, I'll say 10, 15 minutes. And it looked like they switched off and City kind of took over.
Well, the funny part about the game is that going into the game, I was like, okay, it's Liverpool's chance to come back and just really play for the league and show that they're going back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
But they just never seemed to get going. And then City was just so blocked on every area. Funny enough, they had less possession and less passes, but they still managed to just compose.
Yeah.
And they managed to do the counterattacks at the right time. I would say that Liverpool was a bit disappointing given the team they have and the momentum they had last year. This year feels like, even with the best team, there's a question looming, can they do it? And I know there's already chat about it's all club's fault, but I don't think that's the case. I really think that the team maybe has been overworked and they're going back to back. There's COVID and et cetera. It's not easy. And some teams manage to do it right. Some teams don't. And if you look at every league, Paris Saint-Germain is not doing well. Barcelona is doing terribly. Real Madrid doing terribly. It's not an easy league everywhere, but I think I expected more from Liverpool, knowing how stacked they were in terms of team. And City, they've always been that team. They've always been good. But I didn't expect they would be, 10 points clear now? Liverpool?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how they just crept up, man. Like, they crept up, because I remember just 2 months ago, City was sitting about 7th in the league.
Yeah.
And, they had struggled. I think Pep just kind of found a way to play without his strikers. And that's what is amazing about it. Like, they've gone a whole season without strikers.
Yeah. And City, they bought an entire new defense.
Yeah.
And you saw the money that pumped in. You were like, okay, well, they're going to make life incredibly difficult for strikers, et cetera. But it's the other way around. It's not the fact that they're so stacked in the defense that's making it work. I mean, there was clear penalty, et cetera. They're making mistakes. They're making mistakes. And I don't think he seems to find every other week he's changing some of his tactics in terms of the defense. He's not sure who's up or not. He's sure of 2-3 key guys. But it's the counterattacks. It's Sterling. The ability to just counterattack and score is lethal. And you're like, oh, okay, it's getting interesting. I mean,
Gundogan has been amazing this season as well. He's basically, KDB was kind of leading the line, in terms of the main guy. And ever since he got injured, Gwendolyn has like stepped up, and then you had Mahrez is having an amazing season as well too. So yeah,
Foden was
yeah,
amazing.
Foden.
I was impressed. I was like, wow, I didn't see. I mean, you knew this kid was always brewing, that he was going to show up sooner or later, and he was really going to show up. But yesterday's game, he was just on fire. And what was the counter effect is a couple years ago, I was saying Fabinho is impossible to stop. He's an amazing player. But if I look at Foden and Fabinho yesterday, it was the complete opposite. I mean, Fabinho was just terrible, making
Yeah.
I mean, the goalkeeper was another thing, another Karius. But yeah.
Oh, did you see that meme where it was like,
Where he takes his hat.
where he takes his hat and he's subbing off.
That's
actually so funny.
Those types of games stay forever with you. They really do.
Yeah.
So you really have to make sure you're doing a good job. And I think yesterday you saw it in his face. He knew he made a mistake. He knew it was going to haunt him. So I hope he gets back up because he is a good goalkeeper. But it's going to be tough. Now, I think Prem wise, Liverpool is going to really have a tough time.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like I try to give goalies the benefit of the doubt, just because I feel like goalies tend to perform based on what is in front of them. So in terms of like your center back parents, you look at David De Gea against Everton, blunders as well. You look at Liverpool with Alisson. I think not having natural center backs, I think that's putting him in a more compromising situation than if, let's say, you had the likes of Van Dijk, what's the guy's name, the Gomez, in front of him too. So
yes, I mean you can see Barcelona. A perfect example is Barcelona. We have Ter Stegen, and yet we're taking these goals in like it's like Swiss cheese. Honestly, it's just goal after goal after goal. And we don't have strong center backs, and we're really suffering in that area. I mean, Barcelona entirely is a mess, but we have key guys where hold the place. But for the defense, it's not the case. We have no one that's really in place that actually can be that guy. They're all mismanaged or aren't up to the task, etc. And if I look at all the goalkeepers, another goalkeeper I was disappointed that's not doing well, and I thought he was. I even thought one day, Barcelona could be the dream, was Kepa. Kepa was a goalkeeper I thought was going to do something, but it just kept getting worse. And I think when you start making these mistakes and you don't have a good center back, it starts creeping in your mind, oh, I'm not the best. And you lose your confidence. So I think Liverpool-wise, he'll be fine. But
I think Alisson is he's proven that. I think Kepa was a bit more different because Kepa was still up and coming, right? So, and then you had but I think Alisson has proven in the last couple of seasons that he's world class. So I think people are not going to be. I don't think Liverpool fans will be so quick to write him off.
No,
I don't think so. That would be kind of silly because who's really going to replace Alisson right now?
The problem with that is that fans, once they get a taste of victory, they just want it over and they don't accept anything else. And I think Liverpool's in that space. There's rumors of Mbappe going to Liverpool because no other team can afford him. Madrid are apparently trying to formulate an offer this summer. But the realistic fact is that Liverpool are now so used to success that it's becoming normality. Before it was a struggle to even get to the top. Now it's like, hey, you guys should be at the top, so we don't expect anything less. So one mistake, and fans start acting a different way. And I found it funny that Klopp was already saying, "Oh, Klopp out." What other coach is going to replace him? Do the same thing?
Yeah, that's crazy. I will take him at United.
Exactly. And Man U. How many times did we have this conversation? The last podcast that we had, and so forth. That Man U are a terrible position, and it's the president, it's the coach, etc. But he seems to get it going. Once a manager understands his room, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Players can play, and I think Klopp got the best out of that team a couple of years ago, and now, and then same thing with Solskjaer. I think now he can get the best. The real issue is that it's day in, day out. You have to be absolutely the best. And I look at Pep, it's like 12 games in a row. I mean, it's unheard of. I don't think any team in La Liga 12 games in a row is producing this amount. Exactly. Besides Athletic Madrid. And to be fair, Athletic Madrid are facing a terrible competition right now because Madrid and Barcelona are basically caught the flu, if you will. So they're not exactly doing well. If they had a competition, who would be top would be an interesting one. And I think the Prem is the best for a reason. Like, it's day in, day out. Every single
Yeah.
game matters. So
There's always competition. And I think
Oh.
too, like we talked about, obviously COVID is impacting Liverpool just in terms of whether it's the fans not being there, the hectic schedule from all the top clubs, right? So obviously I can definitely see that, but I also feel like Liverpool's situation issues is in the last 2 seasons they haven't really invested in their players. Like they haven't really reinforced. Yeah, it's nice to have your Van Dijk and your Gomez, but I feel like there was no plan of what if these guys got injured, like an insurance plan to say, you know what, maybe we should start getting a decent center back so that way, in case one of these guys got injured, the levels did not drop drastically.
Yeah,
so
and
that's a mistake too.
I agree with you with Liverpool. I think that is the issue, and I think that they haven't invested as much as another team would have hoped, but they also spend a lot in the previous years. And then now with the summer transfer, coming up in a couple of months before the Euro, it'll be or if the Euro happens, or definitely before the World Cup, it'll be interesting to see who really wants to move and who really wants to win. Because if I look at it realistically, there are only a handful of teams that actually are called successful, and the majority of them are in the Prem. Like PSG is not well. You can say as much as you want, but it's not a team that's on the verge of winning something. It's always a gamble. Barcelona or Madrid are going to take a couple of years before they get back to the top. Athletic Madrid, yeah, they've got some good players, but not like forever. The average age is old. I look at Bayern as another realistic destination, and then that's it. Italy's still brewing. So the realistic transfers are all in the Prem. And I think that's what Liverpool's curse is coming from as well, that whoever they're interested in, 5 other teams in the Prem
Teams are interested in as well. Yeah.
And that's the difficult part. So let's just say they want Mbappé. You're almost guaranteed that at least 6 of the top teams are going to try to put their hat in, for sure.
Yeah.
And then it's going to
You know what? Yeah. I know Mbappé has said it several times that he loves the kind of football that he loves, like what Liverpool has done in the last couple of seasons. I just do feel like Real Madrid has the upper hand if they can figure out how to gather some momentum or some cash to be able to get him.
Yeah, I think his dream apparently was always been Madrid. So he was destined for one place. As much as I'm a Barcelona fan, I would kill to have him on my team. It'd be great. But the realistic fact is he's always wanted Madrid. The problem with Madrid is that they don't have money to buy. They're not doing well in La Liga. The coaching-wise, it's questionable. We don't know if he's going to stay or not. That has an impact on Mbappé. And I look at the teams that won the Champions League in the last couple of years. It's Bayern, Liverpool, and then the others are questionable now. If I look at Barcelona and Madrid, if they get cash and they're able to increase their team, yes, Mbappé would be the logical next step, but he wouldn't have a good core. He really wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would be a questionable core. And Ramos is one of the biggest, center backs, and he's in a big question mark. And then are you going to get rid of Benzema? Are you going to trust Hazard? Like it's apparently they're getting rid of their winger. It's a very questionable way of where Madrid's future lies. Almost the same as Barcelona, except Barcelona has further issues. Mbappé to Liverpool, I can see it happening. I can see it was unconventional for him to go to Paris Saint-Germain. Everyone thought after Monaco he was going to go somewhere bigger. He decided to go to PSG, his home city. He wanted to do something there, and he did. He just scored 100 goals. I think he's ready to go to the next level. And the next level for me in this current climate is the Prem, to guarantee. After that, he can go to Madrid once they beef back up. But La Liga needs another 2-3 years.
Yeah. You know what? And I think a lot of La Liga fans I'm happy that you said that, especially someone who is more, obviously you're a Barcelona fan, so obviously you're more connected to La Liga than I am. I know a lot of La Liga fans will argue the case of, La Liga is still up there, but I think standard-wise, La Liga is still there, don't get me wrong, but in terms of just, like you said, financially, the type of football, things that you see that attracts a lot of players. I think the EPL is where a lot of players now in the next couple of years will look to. to go. And it's just, that's where a lot of the big names are now when you think
Well,
about it.
you look at the generation. You look at the generation of good players, and they're all in the Prem. So La
Yeah,
Liga has some good players for sure. Barca. I mean, I'm not saying La Liga is a terrible place. It's definitely right under the Prem, right under. But the
yeah,
problem right under the Prem is this thick layer of problems. And will one player fix it? Being 250 million debt for one player, I mean, he's going to go expensive, right? So
yeah,
if you let's just say he goes to Real Madrid, Real Madrid still need to be to buy a cast around him. It can't just be him,
yeah,
because Messi's game yesterday, you saw that he came in, he made the difference. We still have a good core, maybe not the best, but we have a good core to fight. And it's that, do you have more element to win Champions League and more element to be a dynasty?
yeah,
And I don't think Madrid has it. I don't think Barcelona have it. I don't think Athletic Madrid have it. I think that the Spanish league has been winning and winning and winning and winning, and now it's the slow turnover that's happening, and the Prem
yeah,
is definitely capitalizing on it. And I see that the German teams are getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and Bayern is a team that doesn't necessarily have just stars. They have a lot of great players in their
players,
field,
yeah,
and that's how
quality,
they're rising. And Italy, if I look at Italy and I see Cristiano Ronaldo, he joined Juventus thinking that, of course, new challenge and etc. He wants to be the best, and maybe they were ready to win the Champions League, but now it's a big question mark. Like, what happens next? Who are you going to buy? Because COVID has impacted a lot of teams,
yeah.
and I still think Mbappe to the Prem makes more sense to go anywhere else, and then maybe
And also from a challenge standpoint, I know people might disagree, but I just think the football is different. It's just the intensity. Not like it's better football. Like I still believe La Liga is still more technical in the way teams in La Liga play. But in terms of just the intensity, the over the entertainment of the EPL, you know what I mean? It's just it puts you in a different pedestal to say, right? If you can prove it in the EPL, then by all means you can probably go elsewhere and prove it
well, I
that
think
you are world class.
Well, I think people think that Mbappe is like Messi or like Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a breed of its own. And people expecting him to be swinging one way or the other is unfair. He's unique. There are already a lot of fans complaining in Paris Saint-Germain that he's not exactly defending as well. He's doing small mistakes. Maybe he's just not challenged enough. Maybe his place is so secure that
Yeah,
he can tell what he wants to the coach. He can do what he wants, and he plays. He's a great player, and when he's motivated, he's unbeatable. But I think if I were to compare him to one or the other, I would say he's closer to Cristiano Ronaldo. He's willing to take the risk. He's a man-made machine. He's willing to do anything to get to the top. And I think that if he follows that career goes in the Prem first, then La Liga when he has a better core. And I think it worked out for Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't see why it doesn't work out for Mbappe. If he goes to
yeah,
the Prem another 2-3 years and he says, okay, I've dominated, I've accomplished that, I beat the best possible in the Prem, I'm
yeah,
ready to go to La Liga.
exactly. And and that's true. And I think, like you said, it's that whole. I feel like Mbappe looks very comfortable in the French league. Same with and I think that's part of PSG's downfall too. When you look at them in Europe, is because it's so easy at home domestically that when they come into Europe, it's a struggle for them because now they're finally facing competition. So yeah, like Mbappe, I mean, sorry, Neymar as well. I feel like Neymar he could up his levels a bit more too if he was in a different league that actually challenged him, week in, week out, not just scoring hat tricks every weekend. It's like that's all great and dandy for your stats, but
For
it's
me,
not the same up there.
once he left Barcelona, I think as much as the dream he wanted to sell us that he wanted to be better and the star of the show, the realistic fact is he went to a place where he was 100% sure going to lead and
Yeah,
be important. And he faced Mbappe. And now comes the issue of, yeah, of course, he extended 4 years. He wants to stay. He's happy there. Great. But he's also at a different age than Mbappe. I don't think the star is shining on Neymar as much as
yeah,
it is Mbappe. And Mbappe is ready for that next level. And in all fairness, as much as Neymar is good, I don't think his off-field mentality is the best to mentor Mbappe. His
exactly.
constant partying, his the way he dresses, the way he's acting, it doesn't seem as though his mind is 100% pure football. And I think
Yeah.
Mbappe, I haven't seen a guy like that in a really, really long time, mimicking the Cristiano Ronaldo Messi level. And I think really he needs to prove himself. And if wants to prove himself, I really think he should leave. As much as PSG fans will be angry about it, it would make sense. I
Yeah.
don't. If he renews his contract, I would have a tough time seeing what else can he bring besides a Champions League. Once he wins a Champions League for Paris, the whole story starts over again. They're dominating in the league. It's slow competition. The teams are not good. All the great players of Ligue 1 are leaving for the Prem or La Liga because there's no. It is what
Which
it
is,
is.
yeah, it is, that's, but like this is the first season that we're actually seeing. Actually, no, last season was a little bit of a competition, a bit, but this is the first season we're seeing a bit more competition in Ligue 1, which you said.
There's more competition because I think that Paris Saint-Germain is in a crossroads. Okay, we could have won Champions League.
Yeah.
We needed to buy players. Oh, we don't have money because of COVID. So what do we do now? Well, we have to work with the core we have. And
Yeah.
to work with the core you have to make sure they're motivated day in, day out. And their mentality sometimes when you're watching a game, you're like, how do you miss this pass? How do you miss this shot? Because the goalkeeper in front of you is not as good. And I think Lyon have that mentality. Everyone wants to beat Paris Saint-Germain. So all these teams are motivating themselves to play. Versus Paris is like, okay, well, we want competition, but I think their motivation has dropped a bit.
Well, you've won it for 11 years straight, or is it 10 years straight? It's like, what are the, it's hard to get that motivation going, right? Because you've done it time and time again.
Yeah.
How do you feel like Poch is doing at PSG? Like, I haven't really watched too much of PSG. I mean, Ligue 1 this season.
Pochettino is a great coach. He's a fantastic coach. It's a dream coach for Paris Saint-Germain. I think that Tuchel, as much as I like him as a coach, I don't think he's that guy that gets you over to a winning team. I think he does well as a keeper coach. That means that he keeps things going, but I don't think he's that tactician that gets you over the hump. Pochettino is, and you saw it with Spurs. The only problem with Pochettino is that he hasn't won anything.
Yeah, so there's still doubters out there.
There are a lot of doubters, and in this league, it's like you have to prove yourself constantly. And I think being fired from Spurs is definitely an area where it's gonna loom around him. Like, did the Spurs make a good choice, or did Paris just see a diamond in the rough? And right now, from what I'm seeing, is that the team is trying to adapt to his tactics, and it's not working as well as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be day in, boom, 6-7-0 every single game, and it's a struggle. I mean, he lost 2 games or 1 game already. It's not as easy as I thought it would be.
But you know what, though, and I think it also goes back to the style of players that PSG has. Not to make this whole thing about PSG, but I think it's the style that they have of the type of players. A lot of big egos, very individual, flair kind of players. So I think when you have a lot of flair players on a team, coaches like Poch, who's very technical, who's about systems, it's hard to fit them in. You know what I mean? Because because sometimes playing in a system is actually harder than actually just freestyling your way through it. Like, Neymar could probably could dribble through like 5 guys all day, every day, but is that the right decision to make all the time? I don't know if you remember back in the day when we were young and we used to learn positions, and it was like there was a box that you couldn't get out of. You had to stay in that box, no matter how much you were so tempted to go run for the ball or like go join the action. You were always told, nope, you got to stay here in this box until the ball comes to you, right? So I think
you said it right. I mean, that's why Pep is winning. I mean, Pep at Barcelona took off. I remember Henri was 67 million or maybe more. I can't remember the price. I mean, he was an expensive player for his age. He comes in and I was like, my first reaction to him coming on the team was like, obviously it's a dream. He was a dream as a kid to watch Arsenal. I see Henri on the team and I'm like, yeah, but how is he going to play? Because we're a very system-oriented Barcelona. It's tiki-taka. It's Pep's way or nothing. And I remember one game, Henri is running, and Pep is screaming at him, telling him, stay on the side. And Henri doesn't follow. He freestyles and he changes side and he gets taken off at the half.
Yeah. Like
I don't
literally, yeah.
I don't think a coach would do that to Mbappe or Neymar
Yeah.
because of their importance in the club. And that right there tells me that they're not that level yet. They're
Yeah.
not. And I think PSG, they're a good team, but they still have so much to learn. And this is why I think Mbappe needs to go somewhere else. And if you take that to Madrid, I mean, it's the opposite cutthroat effect with Barcelona and Madrid. You know, back when they had
Yeah.
money a couple of years ago, if you missed 2 or 3 goals that were right in front of you, like Bale, you're out. You're gone. You disappear. And I don't think one single player at PSG would have that effect. If they missed, they'd be like, oh, it happens.
So
Next.
yeah, we'll probably get 20 more tries, 20 more chances versus in the
Try that
EPL.
next term. Try
If you
that.
miss that chance, you've missed it. Like there's no.
Man U versus Everton was a clear example. I mean, Calvert Lewis, he scored that last goal that
Yeah.
equalized in the 95th minute. But that guy, it was 2 weeks he hasn't scored, or 3 weeks, and people were saying, "Oh, he's done. His peak is over."
Yeah.
It's a joke because the guy is producing in and out, but he's not banging in goals. And you're like, if that happened in any other league, they would have been like, it's fine next week. But
Next week,
they were
in
hard.
the Prem, like fans are fickle in the Prem. Fans
Yeah.
are very fickle because everything is so like cutthroat, right? Like
That's what shows me they're the better league because that's
Yeah.
the mentality you want. I have a tough time seeing Cristiano Ronaldo as he was growing up at Man U telling Fergie, "Sorry, I'm going free. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to dribble a bit."
Yeah.
Fergie, like, who are you? Like, sit on the bench. No one likes you. The reason is that he learned the system, and then we're able to tailor the system to him. And I think if you want to get to the top, you have to have that system where you work with other teammates. It's not just you all the time. And I think Rolandinho leaving PSG to Barcelona brought that wisdom that he had at Paris Saint-Germain, but then also he immensely failed when he stopped being a team player.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
when
because that's why it gets to you, right? Whereby everybody's like Ronaldinho, whether you lose against Barcelona, people are begging for his shirt. It's like people are bowing to him, and it's like you just lost to Barcelona, man. Like you should be upset, but they're more so like passionate that they got to be on the same pitch as Ronaldinho. So it gets to your head.
Correct. And I think that the Prem is right now it's the most entertaining league to watch. As much as the Barcelona game last night was interesting to watch, it wasn't interesting to watch because of the good football. It was interesting to watch because how fast Barcelona lost and how fast Barcelona came back.
Yeah.
How Betis didn't have an answer to come back. And many would say, oh, it's the Messi effect. Yeah, Messi came in, changed the thing because the team's mentality when Messi comes on is, oh crap, here he is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not the fact that he changed the game. He changed the mentality of the opposition. So there was more room to go around because everybody was focused on Messi. So yes, he changed the game in that perspective. But what was interesting to watch is a lack of comeback. And in the Prem, regardless of the team, it happens. Regardless.
Yeah. Look at what happened with United.
And three was regardless of what happened, you would have ruled out Everton. You would have said, okay, that's it.
That was done.
The week prior was 9-0 to Southampton. Yeah. And Southampton had no answer, even though Man U has been struggling for weeks and weeks, and people were saying it's over. And now they're back at their best shape. So I think this is what shows what the Prem is. I mean, Leicester City is still in the top 5, so it just shows you,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, just to wrap up on the Premier League before we move to Barcelona and La Liga, just like it's just because of how tight the league is. So all it takes is like you think about United hadn't lost a game since November 1st, the loss to Arsenal, and that's crazy. And then we drop points to Sheffield, and then drop points to Arsenal, and all of a sudden we've lost that. We're basically 5 points behind City. So it's crazy how like just 2 results, you're back to where you started, and it's just like, oh my goodness, all that progress is just lost.
Agree. And for me, watching the Spurs is exactly that. The Spurs were near at the top of the table, and it just takes one mistake, and then it's quicksand, and you fall into the trap, and the players start weakening their mentality, and before you know it, you're 6th, 7th, 8th, and it's a shame because Mourinho turned that team around to get better, and you clearly saw it. But It's just these minor mistakes and not the ability to buy, and then Kane getting injured and then coming back. It's the inconsistency is what's killing that team.
Yeah.
And inconsistency in the Prem kills. You become a top team to a bottom 10 team in a quick glance.
But you know what though, and I said this when we had the group recording, and I said I think what's happening in the Prem right now too is the big clubs. Let's take away Liverpool and City. The remaining big clubs are being coached by either coaches that are out of their depth or inexperienced. And then when you look at the teams like your Leicester City, your West Hams, your Evertons, those teams, even Leeds United, you can argue about Leeds.
Yeah.
They actually have experienced coaches. So I think what's happening is, yeah, you could be a big club by name, but on the pitch, you don't have big club tactics. And I think that's what's happening. That's what's really bridging that gap now between the lines are so blurred between top 3 and top 7, just because the middle table teams have the experience of not the players. They have decent players, but they have the experience of the coach, versus the top teams like your Arsenals, your Tottenhams, your Chelsea before Tuchel took over. Look at the difference with Chelsea in a week. But you look at those teams. What's common about those teams? They have coaches who have 2 to 3 years experience that haven't won anything in the game. So to me, that's where I kind of see that in a sense of, as much as it's competitive in the EPL, I think it's also an imbalance of structure.
It is. It's an imbalanced structure for sure, and I agree with you. But some of these teams, even if they had a top coach, they wouldn't even be in Champions League or Europa. It's a wish. So I think some of these teams, it's be in the Prem and get that money. The TV rights is what the Holy Grail is, and then slowly, year by year, you try and grow. I think Arsenal, and you said it was a top club. I have a tough time categorizing them.
Historically, man, but that's the problem. A lot of these clubs,
I have a tough time seeing them as a top club, and since Wenger left, it's been on a constant decline. It's very tough to watch them fall so hard. I really hope they get back up, because the club stands for a lot more, but I don't think Arteta is the answer. I think he needs a couple more years of experience. And I think Arteta is the perfect example of why Xavi should not be a coach. If you go too soon, you end up being in this, okay, it's more than I thought it would be.
Didn't Xavi decline the job offer?
He did, but he declined because of the president, I suspect. And
true. I hate it when it kind of get in between the president and Messi. And
it's this way: if the president would have gotten Xavi plus renewed the contract of Messi and gone for re-election, a lot of people would have said, "Well, he got the job done." The fact that he got sacked, that he couldn't get a Xavi, and that he had to run in with Messi. Now there's a new way for a new president, and to go on Barcelona, I think Laporta has a better chance because of his experience. But Barcelona is still facing a lot of debt. We have a new stadium we built, or we're building. There's a lot of debt because of mismanagement of the funds, buying players we didn't need, selling players we didn't want. And it's almost the same thing as Real Madrid. The only difference with Madrid is that they have a little bit more cash. But the revenue is still terrible in La Liga. And if I look at the Prem still have some fans. I mean, it's not, La Liga has none. How do you
EPL had some fans initially, and then the Christmas lockdown kind of took that away. But I think they're looking to reinstate that again.
It's the thrive of the club. But also what I found interesting about the Prem is that how much the fans meant.
Yeah.
That so many years the fans were abused by ticket prices rising. And all of a sudden it's an immense importance for the club to survive.
Yeah. Look at Anfield. Anfield was a fortress.
Exactly.
It was like the most dreaded stadium to go to in England.
Exactly. And now if I look at the clubs, they better not raise the prices, because fans would be like, oh yeah, you think you don't you want me to pay this much per week? Like, fine, I'll watch it on TV. Let's see how your club does. I
just hope they don't look for a way to gouge. But you always know corporate America, right? That's what it's about, especially since football. I keep saying it. There's now becoming too much American influence in the world of football, which I do get it. It has to grow, and growth means more money has to be pumped in and more money has to be made. So I do get it from a business standpoint, but that also comes with the corporate greed as well, whereby it's all about profits and nothing else.
I agree, and I just hope we don't lose our way, because watching the Super Bowl yesterday, every 10 seconds something was sponsored by some random company, and it was very annoying to watch. I think it was a halftime show by this, halftime show by that, sponsored by this. It just sounds ridiculous, and it just kills the game, really. And
I guess who the owners of the Bucks are.
I don't know.
The Glazers, same owners as Manchester United.
But the way the sponsors come in, it's just watching it yesterday was a little bit like, okay, this is a little bit too much. Like everything is sponsored. There's a limit to what originality you want to keep, and I think the Prem, La Liga, and etc. are keeping that way. The irony with that is that because of the debt of the clubs will have to get a lot more sponsorship, more than they used to be comfortable with. So Barcelona is going to have to be creative about maybe selling the name of the stadium. Barcelona is going to have to look at multiple sponsors on the jersey. They're going to have to
broadcasting rights as well.
Broadcasting rights. They're going to have to look at selling a couple assets. Do we really need a hockey team, a basketball team, etc.? There's a lot of things that need to go on to make the club survive. And I think it's the same thing for Real Madrid. It's the same thing for some of the top clubs. It is what it is, it's always been that way, and that's why the club's in so much trouble. It's always been that way, and now it's like, oh, this is too much. It's a wake-up call.
And you know what? Even from a fan perspective too, right? Is I look at you go on Twitter nowadays, and it's just you can tell the different generations of fans, and it's just like we've gone away from the eye test, skills, like. What now it's become all about the stats. It's all about stat patterns, who scored 50 goals. Oh, if you only scored 10 goals, you're not good enough. Even though you were so essential to the team, but because you only scored 10 goals, everyone writes you off. And it's just very annoying to see that, because it's like, really? Like, is this what, like you look at the best, like the legends of the game from your I'll take Pele, maybe not Pele, like your Maradonas, your Platinis, your Zidanes, name the best Pirlos of this world. When you look at their stats, even Ronaldinho, it seemed like he was scoring a lot of goals, but when you actually break down his stats, he's nowhere compared to like your Ronaldo or your Haaland or your now your Bruno Fernandes. He's nowhere near those guys' numbers. But are you going to tell me, look in my face and tell me that Bruno Fernandes is better than Pirlo, or is better than Zidane? Like, you're crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's where the new generation needs to wake up as well and see that football is more than just stats. It's about the beauty of the game. It's about who's passing, who fits in the system. Sometimes you have a terrible guy in a defense, but the fact that he plays so well in the system and he understands his key players. Like, for example, let's just say there was a terrible. I remember, what was it, Bellerin? I can't remember one of the players we won with. The Champions League.
Yeah.
I mean, the right back wasn't the best, but the fact that he knew his teammates so well, when to throw it, when to actually shoot it, when to pass it, those are vital areas. If everyone is a beast in stats, the team is terrible.
Yeah. What's a great example is I love Bruno Fernandes. I think he's been so immense to where we are today, but I read somewhere someone was saying that, based on his numbers, Pep is probably so like disappointed that he didn't get Bruno, because City was in the race for Bruno at the time. And I said to myself, not really. Like, Bruno would not fit in that, because Bruno, he's not a system guy. He's like we said, he's a freestyle, just popping everywhere in the box. It doesn't matter where he is, which sometimes leaves us exposed in the middle of the park because we don't have a structure. So it's working for us, and I'm happy with that. But I can't see Bruno in a City team. It's just too organized. You know what I mean?
I don't see Bruno in the City team. And for example, if we backtrack the clock, I don't see Neymar at Madrid. I don't think Neymar would have had the same impact in Madrid as he did in Barcelona. The reason is the cast. The fact that that he was surrounded by Suarez and Messi, and he was getting sort of picked on by Suarez, boosted him to be better, and he enjoyed that success. If he would have been at Madrid, I think the flashy, dashy, and every feed Cristiano Ronaldo at all times would have been a different story. And I think Bruno at City would have been a very different story. I think Pep would have been like, hey, stop going your way. You need to pass. You need to do the right way. And if I look at Pogba at Man U almost has a very similar fashion to Pogba at Juventus. He may be a little bit more keep in your lane because it's a system game versus in Juventus, he was a little bit more free to way. And that's what he struggled with. And you saw it. He struggled to figure out how to be that player. And now he has.
Yeah. But, I know in France too, right? France was, don't you feel it's the opposite though with Pogba? Like he probably is more of a system kind of player than.
I'm just saying that I think he adapts better to a system than he adapts better to free skill. Sooner or later, sooner or later that free skill would have been a different story. And I think in France, as much as he has a little free skill, he's constantly told, be that box to box, be next to Kanté. Don't just go away. Sometimes he goes away and it works. Yeah. Sometimes he goes away and it doesn't. That's when he gets subbed.
Yeah,
there are players that. This is where the tough generation, our new generation, won't understand is stats won't mean you're the best on every single team.
Yeah, and stats is great. But for me, I always go with the eye test. I look at the eye test. I could tell right away who's what is your ball handling skills? How is your control on the ball? How is your touch? How is your short range passing? How is your long range passing? How are you thinking? Because sometimes you can pass left or right, but sometimes it's understanding if I was to pass left, it creates a different kind of window for us to score a goal versus if I just passed it right, it doesn't really lead us anywhere closer to the goal, right? So it's just little things I look at in positioning, how the player position themselves. That's what I look at first. And then the stats now helps to back up that argument, right? But I don't think you can just say, because if not, there's so many players in history like your Chicharitos that we're scoring goals, man. We're scoring goals for fun. But were they in the conversation for anything? No, because that's not what people are looking. It's all great to have players like that on the team, but at the end of the day, you need more because when it comes down to when it matters, like the World Cup finals, the Champions League finals, or when things are going tough, that's when you need the IQ, the guys with the IQs.
You need the guys that are willing to lay down their life to play the game, in a sense.
Yeah,
right? They're willing to do everything to score, and I think for me the test is seeing a player up front before he's scoring a goal, regardless if he's a defender, midfielder, or a striker. I want to see if he has two guys on the side, one on each, is he going to shoot or is he going to pass?
Yeah, decision making.
If he passes and it fails. Was there more that, he was thinking strategically, or was he just getting rid of the ball because he fears it? And there are guys that just strike it right away, but they don't even look left and right because they're so cocky, they're going to shoot it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players nowadays that just go right ahead and shoot it instead of taking a step back and looking.
Yeah.
And that's the difference with this generation. I think that now they're like, to get the fame, I need to score the goals. I need the stats. Yeah. Instead of getting
the fame. That's the trend on Twitter.
I don't think Xavi and Iniesta would have ever been the way they were if they, decided, I'm just going to shoot it all the time. They were the best, particularly at who they were because they passed it. So
yeah, and that's what made Zidane so great. Like you look at Zidane's stats, he averaged probably about 8 goals a season, probably maybe 11 assists a season. But if he wasn't on that team, Real Madrid was not getting to the finals of the Champions League. France wasn't getting to the finals of tournaments,
Player at a key time. He knew when to amplify. And I think teams need to understand that as well, that it's not for everyone to just buy the best players all the time, to get the best stats.
Yeah, just look for LeBron James, Tom Brady, and your problem is solved overnight. Like that's not how soccer works.
One guy in a decade, one guy in a lifetime. You can't get those guys all the time. And it's very funny to watch this generation because.
And it's crazy though, because even the Zidane goals, when you think about them, it was always monumental. It was like the finals against the Leverkusen. You know what I mean? That volley or like the header for France in France '98. It was always memorable goals or like that volley. But I think I probably already said that. But anyways, it's like memorable goals that it's just like you'll never forget that in your life. You would never forget that.
Van Persie won in the Euro where he just dives for it, and I mean those are goals that I haven't seen yet because these are the guys that are willing to do everything, that see an opportunity, they see it and they go for it. Today it's like, oh well, I'm gonna go for a penalty. Oh, there's VAR. Oh, and it's just Neymar has become that player. I see him and he just dives all the time. He falls and it's and a lot more players are doing it now.
Look at the EPL last week. We had 4 red cards in the space of 2 hours.
It reminds me
of the Arsenal game, 2 in the United game. It's like, what is going on here, guys?
It reminds me of NFL with the flag system. It's just too many flags. It's too many fouls, too many flags. It's come to the point where every time I'm watching, I'm like, is this really a red card? Really? Oh, the ref can't make a decision.
Yeah.
Go to the screen every 10 seconds. It's like,
I think it should be common sense, man. I think it should be common sense. Like, it's like your dread. Let's say you had dreads or you had long hair. It's like a strand is offside, so you cancel the beauty of a goal. It's like it's getting very unnatural, right? Like it's
very.
Now defenders are so cautious about not being offsides. I mean, not being onsides. So cautious of not even touching a shirt because if that player goes down, it was a goal scoring opportunity. So that's a red card and a penalty. It's getting too like.
It's getting mathematical. It's
down and I think we're going to lose out on a lot of wonder goals that we've grown up to see because half of these goals are going to get ruled off because somebody's pinky was keeping the team onside.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a goal not long ago. I think it was a couple of weeks ago where Son was just like really a hair away from being onside.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of goals that stay in your memory and you're like, well, this could have been a fantastic story. But VAR was instated. We have to respect it. I just hope that they review it in a better sense because I feel like the coaches or the refs have no instinct whatsoever.
Yeah.
All they do is go straight to the screen. And sometimes, you need to go with your gut unless someone, and reviewing it tells you, okay, pause. There was an issue. You need to go back to it.
Yeah.
It's just very unnatural. That's what it is. But wasting time.
Yeah, and I heard somebody say that too. Is I think VAR is good in the sense of like just as much as it's very annoying. There's also been in major tournaments whereby a referee has kind of made the most awful decisions that has cost a country or a team, glory or a win. So I can definitely see where VAR plays a role. I think what needs to happen with FIFA, UEFA, whatever football body is they need to stop giving referees so much power and autonomy. Like they have to be held accountable for their decision makings as well. You can't make the most ridiculous decision and then you just go scot-free and you're on the field ref in the next game. It's like, no, you've got to also you've got to be accountable for what your actions. And I think in football, because it happens in basketball, refs are held accountable in basketball in the NBA. I think it's the same.
Change.
There needs to be some kind of
VAR 1.0. We need to get to VAR 2.0, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. But so just to quickly, we're almost at an hour, so we're gonna quickly wrap up. We've already kind of touched on Barcelona with this whole conversation. How are you feeling right now? Because from outside the club, it looks like you guys are going through almost on the verge of bankruptcy. I think it was $1 billion in debt. Yep. And then, with the whole saga with Messi, do you still believe that he's going to be leaving in the summer? And 2, don't you think that Messi should leave now? Don't you think like Messi is becoming more of a detriment to Barcelona's future than he is to whatever he's trying to do right now for the club?
Yes, I think it's 1 billion in debt. I think Real Madrid are minus 900 mil, so it's quite a lot. I think the Liga is definitely suffering. Barcelona, Real Madrid are in a tough spot. Barcelona more than ever, but there's also a stadium being rebuilt. There's a lot of money mismanaged. If I look at the team right now, we have some good core players. We really do. Some players need 2 or 3 years to become where they are. We have a good core, and we need more support in other areas which we're lacking. For example, we don't have a striker. Like that's a joke, honestly. Like getting rid of Suarez when we don't have money is stupid. And
Yeah,
I don't know what the president was thinking. It's beyond ridiculous. And I hope there's a reason behind it, whether it's cash or other, but it's really ridiculous. Messi leaving would hurt more Barcelona, in my view, because of the sponsors, because of money, because of fans. I think that would hurt more than him leaving. Honestly, I think he needs to stay, in my view, and take the role of, okay, you've won everything. Now it's time to work with this working cast and maybe get a player or two to get to the
yeah,
next. There were a couple years back where Barcelona was banned from transfer for like 2 summers, 2 transfers, and Barcelona worked with their core. They had nothing else, and they work with it. I'm not saying this is the case because it's a vastly different team, but Barcelona's second now. With the players we have, that we're second in La Liga,
yeah.
regardless of what people think about other teams. La Liga is tough, and we're
No, it
second.
is. Trust me,
So
man. I actually watched the games this weekend. No, it's not. Look at Villarreal, man. They were up
exactly.
2-0, and yeah, lost the game. Well, they did tie the game, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So I think that Barcelona, with the core guys they have, if they make some key transfers, not too expensive, or go after guys that are end of contract, I think there's still a little bit of magic left in this team. But the main issue here is who's going to lead this team, and I think there needs to be a top-down follow-up, and the presidency coming up soon is key. If Victor Font takes over, I really think that Messi will leave. I don't think Victor
Mm,
Font answers what Messi wants, which is a a rejuvenated project in the way Messi sees it, which is let's try and do whatever we can for now and then slowly build for then. Victor Font coming in would eradicate everything. He'll fire Coman, he'll get Xavi, he'll definitely sell the old guys, most likely Greasy as well, and he'll
yeah,
just okay, we only have a young player. It's going to be tough for another couple of years, and then we'll build on it.
yeah,
Laporta coming in will probably have the reverse effect. He'll say, "Listen, Messi's still in his prime. I'm going to get 2 or 3 key guys, maybe out of contract or wherever we can, and then at the same time try and kill the debt a little bit." He won't
yeah.
go crazy. Like Barcelona fans shouldn't expect like 100 mil, 200 mil transfers. That will not happen for the next 5
No,
years.
that's not happening anytime soon.
Exactly. So I think 20 here, 30 there, maybe 15 here, maybe end of contract guys. Those are what he would probably look at. And I think if Messi should stay, Laporta has the best chance to convince him. If
Yeah,
Messi really is destined to leave, then he would have said it by now. And he didn't. He said it
yeah,
in the summer. The president left, and now he said it again. I'm focused until the end of the year. I think if the president comes in and says, listen, these are the key plans, this is what we have, and Barcelona is like in the top 2 or maybe even wins the league with a miracle, I don't see why he would want to leave. I mean, the only reason he would want to leave is like Brady. It would be the coaching is toxic or
yeah,
the is toxic. I think if there's a new presidency, there's new blood coming in, the coach is still okay. He resonates with him. I think something can be done.
yeah. But do you feel maybe he might leave because he wants to win maybe one more Champions League before he
Yeah,
retires?
realistically, what team would offer him that off the bat? There's no guarantee. I mean,
Yeah,
Brady,
Man
Brady
City's probably the closest bet
is the
to do it.
closest. Exactly. If I'm really going to leave, I wouldn't even consider Paris Saint-Germain. I would really.
No, that's a joke. No, that's just a payday at that point, which Messi does not need a payday. He's had enough money.
The further question of Messi going to Paris Saint-Germain, which all fans are hoping for, would Neymar pass the ball more to Messi than himself? Would Mbappe pass the ball more than him? Like you can say all you want, but the reason it worked between Suarez, Neymar, and Messi is because Messi was the leader. Suarez understood his role that he supports Messi, and
And
Neymar
they're
was
best friends too.
and exactly, and Neymar was up and coming. The moment he felt he was a star, he decided to leave. So
Yeah,
now the star of PSG, Messi coming in would blow away his chances of becoming a star. There's no chance. I'm not too sure Mbappe would accept it. If he goes to City, yeah, City doesn't have a real strong striker. I think he would fit there.
oh yeah, perfectly. Yeah, I think I already see where Messi would play, man, at City.
Exactly. In
Yeah,
my view, if he really wants to leave, it'll be City.
jeez, that would be yo. Could you imagine if Messi came to the EPL? Oh, City,
It would make sense as
man,
much.
Manchester will be blue for like the next 5 years.
I would say a little bit less, but I think that if he goes, it'll be easy 2 years where it's just blue all the time.
Yeah, it'll just be, and then they'll probably have to sign any player they want because who doesn't want to play with Messi?
Exactly.
Like,
But
wow.
if it's that Messi is determined to keep his family happy and the environment he's in, which is Barcelona, and the president can promise him what he's the president Laporta coming in. The reason I like Laporta is because regardless of what people think of him, if he comes in, he's worked with Messi for so many years. He's been
Yeah.
through the golden era. He understands the importance of La Maisa. He understands the importance of the club, etc. I think he fits perfectly to try again. Like
Yeah.
Perez coming back to Madrid was, he left, he had another president, and then Perez came back. I think Laporta coming back would make more sense, and I think with Laporta back in, Messi has a strong chance of staying. No one can tell what's going to happen in his mind, but I think there's a better chance with Laporta than Victor Font. And realistically, the only team that Messi should go for is City to win something guaranteed. He goes to Paris Saint-Germain. I'm not too sure the top three would. Yeah, and it goes back to our point. Stat-wise, it would be ridiculous. But
It would
style-wise,
just be too unfair, man.
yeah, but style-wise, I don't think Paris Saint-Germain would make sense for Messi. Style-wise, it's not his style. It's not.
Yeah. And I know PSG, I heard they don't even have the same money that they used to have, the kind of money, because they don't have the same funding from the Dubai family.
It's Qatar. It's Qatar family.
So Qatar family, not Dubai. Yeah, Qatar family.
The Qatari, the thing is, multiple clubs are complaining about how Paris Saint-Germain is getting away with the Qatari influence in terms of the finances. FIFA ruled on it, the TAS ruled on it, and it is what it is. We just have to accept it. But
Yeah.
there are a number of clubs that are still annoyed with it. Paris Saint-Germain, I'm sorry, but buying 60 mil for Icardi and then hoping Messi and renewing Mbappe and renewing Neymar, finances don't make sense. If they get Messi, they'll have constant issue with FIFA. Constant.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, for sure.
City, on the other hand, wouldn't, because City's top, they're winning, they have the cash. I don't see a problem there. It would be a natural fit. But it's, again, does Messi want to take that risk when a new president is coming in? And I mean, if I look at you and me and I say, okay, if I want to stay in a company I've been in for 10 years, the only reason I would stay is if like the vice president or the director directly like having interaction with me would say, we're doing everything to give you one last year. Exactly like Michael Jordan, exactly like what's happening with LeBron. If there's an organization that believes in you and wants to build around you, why would you want to leave?
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's you're right, because I think Messi's heart is in Barcelona. And like I said that in the last recording that we had. This was in the summer when there was the huge rumors of Messi was going to leave, and with that whole statement. And I said, it would just feel so weird to see Messi not in Barcelona jersey.
If I was Messi and I was the club at that time, I mean, he had a terrible interaction with the president. The board of directors see him as a financial liability, even though that 90% of the players earn way above their salary, including Griezmann, who produces nothing, honestly. So my view is that he had a very disconnected relationship with the top management. Now the top management is gone. It's empty. Yeah. It's just seats and guys that will not be there in a month. So if I look at it perspectively, I look at it almost the same thing as the Brady situation. The difference is Belichick is gone. The issue is gone. Like, he has a fresh slate. So if Laporta comes in, I'm sure he'll be able to fix it. Whether Messi's heart is at Barcelona, that's his choice. But I think Laporta could probably convince him. Victor Font coming in would be like, bringing my best friend to manage me isn't going to really motivate me.
Yeah. Are you still hurting from Suarez leaving?
Well, as I said, I think I said it when it was about to happen. I said it. If Suarez leaves, he's going to haunt our dreams. And it's exactly what's happening. The guy is scoring week in, week out, versus the two strikers we have aren't producing anything. The Danish guy isn't doing anything besides running around hoping to see the ball. And Griezmann is he's producing, but he's not that lethal striker that we need.
That you need, yeah.
And Suarez was. You can call him whatever he wants, old, etc. He is a bulldog. He will go in, day out, and try. And that's what we need. And getting rid of him and not buying anyone is beyond the stupidest mistakes I've ever seen. So it'll be interesting.
It's crazy, man. It's kind of like it's kind of like, just a quick example. It's like Manchester United. You got rid of Lukaku, which was okay, but who did we bring in? Igalo and then Cavani. It's like, what was the point of? You might as well have just kept Lukaku till we found a proper replacement for the kid. So
Exactly.
it's sometimes it makes is I know sometimes people are so eager to let go of somebody, but if you don't have a plan to replace that person, then you're better off just sticking with what you already have. Like it
Well,
wasn't going to cost us more.
that's what's so interesting about the story, and this is where you can tell the top level VPs or management just didn't understand anything. I mean, Suarez went out of his way to talk to the press and say, "I'm willing to be a substitute."
Yeah,
This is a guy that's
it's
won
crazy.
Champions League or something like that, or this is or
Can
one.
you imagine?
The guy is willing to be a substitute, and other teams for him, and Barcelona gets rid of him. For me, it doesn't make sense. So the reasoning behind it, in my view, was there was a clearly taste to break Messi apart, take his best friend away, and make him leave.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see it. Take the best guy that he's comfortable with, break him in half. We took away the chemistry. Now you can go away because it's not our fault. Messi decided to leave.
That does make sense. Yeah, that does make sense because even if you think about it, yeah, that's crazy. Because what was the wage that Suarez was on? It's going to be cost you more to go out and buy a quality striker than
It's
even if you increase his wage by an extra 50,000.
it's almost the same thing when we were in school, right? In high school.
Yeah,
If we're hanging around together and talking in class, the teacher's going to come down on us and say, "Hey, you sit over there and you sit over there." We're never going to talk. And then supposedly we're more interested. But the first thing we're going to think about in that class is, "I can't wait to get out of here."
yeah, exactly.
And that's the first thing that I'm sure the club wanted, oh,
To
Messi,
happen.
yeah, Messi wants to leave, and etc. And Bach not allowing him to leave, I think he didn't allow him to leave because he didn't want to be that president. That's it. But I
Yeah,
think the goal was always to sell him. I just don't think he wanted to do it now until he won his presidency, and then he basically lost his presidency. Now, in a month, we'll know if Barcelona has a new president, who it will be. We have two tough games versus Paris Saint-Germain, which I'm sure Barcelona will lose, which will make Messi think twice as hard for sure. When he sees PSG beat us, it will make him think twice as hard. But if Laporta can convince him to say, "Hey, I'm going to get 2 3 guys off the market, not expensive, and we'll do the best we can," why would Messi leave? I mean, he has a
yeah.
trusted president. He's in the country. His kids are happy. His family's happy. Why would you disrupt it to go to Brexit land and hope and
And man, it's
hope
not like it's even London. It's Manchester where it rains and there's not much.
exactly? And it's a complete
Yeah,
different.
I don't think his Mess's wife will be too happy about that.
Than that, even if she stays in Barcelona and he does the back and forth, he's still isolated and alone.
Yeah,
So the realistic fact is he has to look at it. What's more important? Is it winning with the family and trying and doing what legends are made of, or is it going for an easy win like someone else? Brady would have stayed in New England if Belichick would have wanted him.
yeah.
Belichick didn't make enough effort, so he left. And the Super
I think he
Bowl,
has to do like a contract. They were not willing to pay him more than he had
correct. And
requested. So
he showed what he is. He is the GOAT. Simple,
yeah,
plain and simple. So if anyone should regret it, it's the Patriots. And I look at Barcelona, I'm like, if you let him go, you will regret it. So the
yeah,
fact that he didn't go and there's a new president is positive. And
yeah,
PSG rumors, I just don't see it happening. The reason is because it wouldn't make sense
mm.
financially and tactically. City would make sense. City, I would be prepared, Josh, that if he chooses a club, it'll be your enemy.
City, man.
Your
That's
enemy.
why. Trust me, that's why I'm be pulling my hair out and just being like, "This is our one season to win this, man." But it is what it is. So yeah, it definitely has been a fun conversation. Just uh yeah, that's crazy, man, how the season has kind of progressed, but it's still a long way to go, man. There's still about 16 games in the league, and then we still have Champions League, Europa. So there's still lots of football to be played. I still feel like in England there is still a competition. It's I don't think City has quite run away with the title yet. I feel like once Champions League gets back underway, I feel like they're going to be more focused in the Champions League just
Pep
because.
has to win it. Pep has to win it. If he doesn't win
Yeah,
it, if he doesn't get close to the final, I think he's in a very tough position. So City will go all in for Champions League, and this is where they're going to start dropping points. So I think Prem is
That's what
open.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
I think Prem is open. La Liga is not open. I think Athletic Madrid, given the current landscape, will run away with the title.
You think so?
Yeah, it'll be too tough for Madrid or Barcelona to bounce back on a 12-point deficit.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's going to happen unless Athletic Madrid really makes some key mistakes. They don't really need Champions League. They need La Liga.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so they might even end up resting their players.
Exactly.
And they're playing what? Liverpool? They're playing Liverpool too, so that's going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game. So they'll probably maybe drop 3-6 points at best, but that's still they should be running away with the title, honestly. And if I look at Ligue 1, PSG should win it. I mean, it's just getting that streak in, and then that's it, honestly. Yeah. Because French teams aren't that good, and it's really close. Prem and La Liga have a further distance in terms of points, but I think Prem is still open once Champions League opens. I agree with you. But La Liga, it should be Athletic Madrid.
Yeah, that is true. But anyways, man, I'm excited. Hopefully we can do a show probably next week. Talk about the Champions League and what our predictions and
the game. Don't expect me to watch the game. I'll watch I'll read about it, but I want to watch the game.
What game?
The Paris game. I'll cry too
much.
Oh,
come on, man. You got to watch that game, man. It'll be fun to see Neymar. And isn't Neymar injured? I heard he was. I know João Felix is injured.
Injured every other week, so it would be interesting why he signed a 4-year contract to be a top player, but interesting.
But that's another thing too. I think that's where Neymar is kind of stuck in PSG, because who's going to pay 120 million pounds at least for a player who's 30 years old and has made of glass?
I only think that Prem would have been able to afford him, but the real question is, how often is he going to be injured?
Yeah, literally.
And he has no chance. And going back to Barcelona, Neymar wanted to go to one destination, which was Barcelona, and it was impossible financially. So he knew he either had to take away his money and come back as a free guy in a year and, just let it go, or make more money and extend 4 years. And he decided to extend it and then spin the wheel by saying, well, he wanted to stay with Mbappe and et cetera. But I realistically think Mbappe is probably thinking, what's next?
Yeah, like that's craziness.
Sitting there like, oh yeah, Paris makes sense. He must be really thinking, because they bought no one over the summer. And the main wish from the catastrophe of Champions League was, who are you going to bring in? They brought no one.
If anything, they took away, because they had Cavani and now they've taken him away.
They took away Cavani and they changed coach. So if I'm looking at Mbappe, I'm like, the club is not doing what they promised me. I think I might look somewhere else. And if there's a club that needs a star, it's Liverpool, because City are that strong.
Yeah, and right now, I think Salah is that front three. They need to be refreshed. I think it's kind of getting stale too.
They're a great front three. I'm sure they're going to continue for many years, but they also need a pause. I think there are games where they don't need to be in that position all the time. And I think Firmino is the one I would sell. And I would bring Mbappe. And then I would have a front three that's aggressive. And then I would buy a couple of young players that, stay on the bench.
Firmino, really? I would sell Salah, man, because I think Salah is kind of useless if he's not in the box. Like Firmino, like even yesterday, he was like his passing range is.
For me, he's I think Mbappe is ready to take a striker role, and I want to see him as a striker role, not a winger role. And if he's a striker role, put him where he belongs to score goals. Fast, he's quick. He needs to learn a little bit more. And I would never count out Salah. Salah is an amazing player. And honestly, you put Salah in Real Madrid or Barcelona, he would do equally as well. He's not as consistent as everybody wants, but he's an amazing player. And you're only saying that because the Prem is so cutthroat.
You know what? That's true. I know people have had that argument in other fan channels too about is Salah really, like, who would you take, Salah or Son? And people were arguing that they would take Son, but yeah, I do respect Salah. Like, I've never had anything against him. I think
you're our top two guys, right? Salah and Son. Right now, I would take Son. Why? Is because the way he plays and how hungry he is. But if I looked at the technical aspect, I would take Salah. Salah, I put him in front. He won't miss that damn goal.
Yeah, when he's on form, holy cow.
Sometimes he misses things that are just easy because he falls over and he complains. he's a great player, but sometimes he does things that are just questionable. But Salah in front is brutal.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, he actually did make a good point there. Yeah, I know my brother doesn't like Salah whatsoever, and he's a Real Madrid fan. He's like, I would never take Salah. I was like, wow, that.
I think that's a shame because I think Salah at Madrid, for example, would do some real good. I think Salah at Madrid would do better than Hazard. Hazard has been a waste, and everybody he's been a waste. Everybody knew the moment he was going to leave Chelsea, it wasn't going to be the same thing because in Chelsea he was kept in check. The moment he came to Madrid, more cash, everything, and it just hasn't worked out. And he's been constantly injured. Every time now someone's saying, oh, he's back to his form, I just think of it. I'm like, he reminds me of Robinho. It's a dead case.
Yeah, that's sad, man. It's like Real Madrid is trying to get rid of Bale and then brought in another Bale 2.0.
Yeah. It's the same thing, right? We got rid of what's his name? Well, he paid his own clause. We got rid of Neymar and we bought Dembele, who's been glass.
Yeah.
And we bought Griezmann, who honestly doesn't fit the system.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, yeah, we'll definitely talk more in detail next week, but it's definitely been fun, man. We always keep going way over the time, but it is what it is. When you're having a good conversation, you're having a good one. Yeah, man. Hopefully I didn't keep you away from your wifey for too long. And yeah, man. Hopefully we can see each other soon, bro. Hopefully once all this is over. All this is over for sure.
Oh, it's for the Euro.
Hey, I'm serious about those tickets, man. Okay, all right, man. Definitely has been fun, guys. For those of you who tuned in, I really appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate those of you that liked the video. Please continue to like, subscribe, and share. It means a lot to the channel. Yeah, so till next time, we will see you. So thanks, man. Take care.
Bye.